In the aftermath of the whole TXU announcement and the acquisition, another 9 gigawatt of coal-fired capacity got canceled in the US, and there's about 32 gigawatt that is currently being delayed. So there's a strong need for infrastructure, but nobody's really building. And by the way, this is the generation side. Equally, you could draw an equal picture for the transmission and distribution side. The US is one market. India, we haven't talked about India today. India is another market that requires significant investments over the next few years. And I think it's a question of time until they kind of like see a role for solar. But it's a very challenging market for a variety of reasons. So this graph kind of shows how the construction cost of traditional power generation have increased. Basically, it's twice as expensive to build a fossil fuel power plant today than it was 8 years ago. The two key reasons really are that the basic materials, steel, concrete, cement, have really gone up, and that there's a significant labor shortage as well. There have been like 3 rate filing applications for nuclear. It's about $7,000 for a kilowatt, and that's just the capital cost. Coal is between $2,000 and $4,000, which is quite a wide range. One reason why, by the way, a lot of these projects get canceled or delayed, but significantly more expensive than it has been a few years ago. The third aspect is that gas prices have increased quite a bit. And even when you look at current futures for gas prices, while they may recover a little bit, they will still at a significantly higher level than what we've seen in the last 5 years. This is very relevant for those markets where gas is the price setting, determines the price setting mechanism. Texas, California are 2 examples where 95% of the time gas will actually determine the power price. On the right side, you see the implication it has had on prices in Texas. It is true for the rest of the country. When you look at future power prices again, they've been on average between 70 and 120% higher than in some of those high price markets than they were 12 months ago. But I had a variable contract. I live in Houston. I had a variable contract 12 months ago at 11 cents. It went up to 19 cents within 12 months. Then I finally checked my bill, and I changed. In Texas, it's very easy. You just click on the internet. There's very straightforward. And I now have a all-green 15 cents. But it went from 11 cents to 15 cents. That is quite typical. I have a client, a commercial customer, that had a 5-year contract at 11 cents. And they feel they're going to be lucky if they get a 5-year contract at 15 cents. So significant power price increases. Now the reason why I think the second aspect on the power market is important because it allows you to kind of like pick those markets where economic demand will emerge earliest, and then think about who are the customers you want to target. I briefly wanted to also talk about the fundamental shift in the environmental mindset that we're seeing and how it affects policy making. I'll keep it short, but maybe two discussion points here. One is the momentum behind carbon policy. Our firm has done quite a bit of work in working with policymakers as well as different industrial stakeholders and NGOs on developing kind of like a fact base around for carbon policy. Now the next page is a pretty complicated page, and we could talk about this probably for a day if we wanted to, but let me simplify. What this page shows is the different opportunities to reduce CO2. It's a greenhouse gas abatement curve. So basically the different bars here, columns, represent different options or group of options that you could do that would allow you to reduce CO2. The width of the option tells you how much gigatons per year you can reduce by doing that. The height tells you how much it would cost compared to a reference case, which we've defined, but it's basically what we currently pay for CO2. You also see that some of these are negative, basically means that it's an NPV positive project and everybody ought to do it. Energy efficiency nicely fits into that. Unfortunately, we don't always make rational decisions. On the right side, you see kind of how much different options would then cost. This is the US chart. If you look at any of the legislative proposals in Washington, they range between 3.2 and 5.7, I believe, gigatons per year. So what this graph tells you, even if you want to reach the most conservative policy that's been proposed, you have to do all these things and execute them perfectly, which is not going to happen. Now, in any case, the point I want to make is that from a climate change perspective, solar will play a fundamental role. You cannot achieve climate change goals without solar. It's not possible. This is the US perspective. We're currently doing a similar curve work for China. And when we talk a little bit about the upside, it's not going to be a short-term, near-term upside, but I do think more in the long term there could be a China upside. And I think it would come from a climate change discussion, where the central government would say, like, look, we have to do this, and then it's going to be one decision, and they'll execute quite nicely.